Grossi Posse Packer Nation, welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom Grossi, and after an eventful day in the NFL, we're going to break down the first draft of the 53-man roster. Now, it's important to note that even though we have cut down to 53, this is not necessarily permanent, as waivers can still go through as of Sunday afternoon, and then they can start forming their practice squads on Monday. So this lineup, or this roster, is subject to change, and I have a feeling that there are definitely going to be some changes in there. And for the most part, I have to say that there's nothing crazy surprising here. There's a few that's interesting, and there's a few head scratchers in there. But for the most part, this was pretty predictable, aside from a few key elements. Now, that being said, let's get down into the roster breakdown. Starting at quarterback. So the Green Bay Packers decided for, I think this is like their third or fourth year in a row, they decided to keep more than two quarterbacks on the roster, deciding to go with Rodgers, which was quite honestly a interesting decision, considering I didn't know if he was going to be able to make the team. Deshaun Kaiser, and they kept Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle, who obviously didn't look good in the last preseason game, but I'm guessing for depth and the flashes of talent that he showed and his strong arm, they wanted to keep him in there. Now, Boyle still could get knocked off the team and signed to the practice squad. That is very possible. But as of right this second, he's made the 53. At running back, we got Jamal Williams, and of course we got Ty Montgomery. Now, Aaron Jones is still on the team. However, he is suspended for the first two games of the season, which means he goes on reserve. Now, if the Packers want to bring him back into the 53-man roster, that means that before week 3, they have to move someone from the 53-man roster over to the practice squad. So you're most likely going to lose someone that we're mentioning here to make room for Aaron Jones, who has proved last season and also during this preseason that he's definitely worthy of a roster spot. Now, a big news coming out of here is that the Packers did not sign a fullback, releasing Aaron Ripkowski. Now, I predicted that he would make the 53, but I'm not terribly surprised here. After John Kuhn, the reliance on a fullback has steadily decreased over the years, and so I'm not really surprised that they're going and getting rid of the fullback position completely. When it comes to blocking, they got guys like Mercedes Lewis, the tight end that's going to be sticking in there. I feel like they're going to use a lot more tight end schemes, and they're not really going to rely on their fullback as much, which is obviously not at all because there's no more fullback. Now, the little bit of a head scratcher, I said that they were going to keep 7 wide receivers on this team, and as of right this second, they are keeping 8. Now, again, I think this list, especially when it comes to wide receiver, is going to change. But at the moment, you got Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, Geronimo Allison, Trevor Davis, Jamon Moore, MVS, ESB, and my man, Jake Kumerow. Now, we talked about this Trevor Davis thing a lot. A lot of you think that he should be cut, and I have made the argument that while I may agree with you, he does have that kick return ability, which not everybody has, and the Packers are desperately in need of a kick returner / punt returner. However, there are also rumors that are going around that they are trying to shop Trevor Davis and trying to trade him. So that may happen. I wouldn't be surprised that by Monday, maybe one of these receivers aren't here. In a perfect world, I think out of all of these, Trevor Davis is dropped. But again, then you need to solve who's going to return your kicks and your punts, because Quentin Rollins, who we were going to talk about in a second, he has been put on IR. So while this is good and bad news, good that we still get to keep a second rounder, it's also bad news is that that's just another returner that we don't have, even though Rollins didn't really prove to be all that great in returning footballs. Now, on tight end, this was a little bit surprising. We actually kept 4 tight ends. So we got Jimmy Graham, we got Kendricks, we got Mercedes Lewis, and Robert Tonyan, the guy I've been rooting for, and I said was going to make the 53. He made it. So right now we are sitting at number 4 tight ends. Again, I don't know if they're all going to stick around. Graham is obviously going to be the spread the field, deep threat, red zone threat. Mercedes Lewis is there for blocking. Tonyan proved during the preseason that the kid definitely could play. I think the weak spot here is Kendricks, and I don't know why he's here, but I guess he provides that veteran experience, even though, again, so does Lewis and Graham. I kind of don't see his purpose, but that's neither here nor there. So offensive linemen, we signed 9 of them. I thought we were going to get 10, but Kyle Murphy has actually been placed on IR, so the Packers can keep him. But right now we got Bakhtiari, Bulaga, Lane Taylor, Corey Lindsley, Justin McCray. Byron Bell did make the team. I told you. I'm sorry. I knew he was going to. And it's not because he's good, but we just need the depth here. Jason Spriggs, Lucas Patrick, and Alex Light. Alex Light, undrafted free agent, one of 4 who has made the Packers this season. So good for them. But I'm looking at this offensive lineman, especially with the signing of Khalil Mack by the Chicago Bears, and I am a little bit worried about depth. And who knows, maybe the Packers will claim somebody off of waivers. Our defensive line consists of Mike Daniels, Muhammad Wilkerson, Kenny Clark, Dean Lowry, and Montrevious Adams. Nothing really surprising there. Linebacker. Now, this is the part where it gets a little bit scary. We got Clay Matthews, Nick Perry, Blake Martinez, Oren Burks, Reggie Gilbert, Kyler Fackrell, he made the team, Antonio Morrison, who we just traded for, and James Crawford, another undrafted free agent. So there really isn't, this is a total of 8, there really is not a lot of depth at linebacker at all, which does make me a little bit nervous. We're cutting guys like Ahmed Thomas, and of course also Vince Beagle. Now, I know a lot of people were hyped on Vince Beagle because he was a Wisconsin boy. I thought that they would at least keep him for the depth, but it looks like the Packers are kind of they're going for it. But again, I wouldn't be surprised that by Monday, we've claimed somebody off waivers maybe to help out the team a little bit. Now, going over to cornerback, a little bit surprising here. A few things. One, Rollins obviously on IR, but we kept Tremont Williams, Kevin King, Devon House, Jair Alexander, Josh Jackson, and Herb Waters made the team, making it a total of 6. So Rollins on IR. However, we released Dimitri Goodson, who was a staple of this team a few years ago. If you remember, he was the guy who covered Julio Jones in the NFC Championship game, and now he's not even on the team. He was one of our best cornerbacks, and now he's released, showing really how we have not had good cornerbacks and no depth here for quite some time. And we also got rid of Josh Hawkins. I thought Hawkins would at least make the team, but it looks like we're really going to be relying on those rookie cornerbacks. We do have the veteran experiences, and with Tremont Williams and Devon House, and then Kevin King, they're hoping makes a big step his sophomore year. Safety, only one real surprise here. Clinton Dix stayed on, Kentrell Bryce, Josh Jones, Jermaine Whitehead, and Raven Green is the guy who was a little bit surprising, but he showed enough that he can make the team. And then special teams, we got Crosby, J.K. Scott, who's been punting ridiculously well, and Hunter Bradley, a.k.a. he snaps balls, my boy, made the team as the long snapper, so good for him. So a couple notes, again, 4 undrafted rookies made the team in Boyle, Green, Crawford, and also Alex Light. Aaron Jones, again, is coming back, and the waivers are going through Sunday afternoon. So taking a look at all of this together, I think this is a weird-ass roster right now, and I think things are going to change before Monday. I think we might cut or release or trade a wide receiver, hopefully claim some more people on defense, because defense, linebacker and offensive line is a little bit scary for me with the lack of depth there. And also on the topic of the draft, we also cut 2 draft picks, which was Donnerson and Looney. So yeah, there goes those 2 guys, but who knows, maybe they could get picked up for the practice squad if they aren't waived, which for these 2, I'm not really necessarily worried about. But that being said, let me know what you think down in the comments below about this roster. Are you happy about it? Any crazy, shocking surprises for you? Again, nothing really too crazy here, but I do see some potential movements on the waiver wire to help strengthen the depth of this team, which is very much needed. And final thing I wanted to just touch on real quick, as this came out when I wasn't able to record a video. So the Khalil Mack contract went through. Obviously, the trade went through and everything like that as well, is that the Bears, they gave up first rounders for the next 2 years. They gave up a 3rd rounder and a 6th rounder, and in return, they got a 2nd round Khalil Mack and also in 2020, and also I think it was a 5th or 6th round. So the price is pretty high in that they had to give up essentially, or mortgaging their future here for a potential Hall of Famer. But taking a look at the contract, in which I thought it was going to get close to $100 million, and I was pretty darn close, in that the extension is a 6-year, $141 million extension, equaling out to $23.5 million a year. $90 million is guaranteed, and he gets $60 million at signing. He's the highest paid defensive player in NFL history. So Packers fans, I want you to take a deep breath, because while it would have been amazing to have Khalil Mack on the team, paying two salaries that are basically worth $200 million is not really sustainable. We have arguably the best player on offense being Aaron Rodgers, and now you have the best player on defense being Khalil Mack. Again, that's going to be really hard to swallow when it comes payday. While we might have gotten a Super Bowl out of it, and I know a lot of you would have said it's worth it. I'm actually okay the fact that our future is still intact. We have 2 first-round picks next year. We have a healthy amount of cap room going forward. We locked in the best quarterback in football, and while it's going to be more difficult to play Khalil Mack twice a year, the good thing is, like, the Vikings and the Lions have to deal with that too. So we got a great quarterback. We got a great team. Let's go kick some ass this season. But let me know what you think down below if your feelings are different and or the same. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or Tom Grossi Comedy at Instagram, Facebook, and of course on the Twitters. Check out Allergic to Fun, my debut comedy album, which debuted at #1 on Amazon last weekend, which was awesome. You can get a digital copy on iTunes and Amazon, and physical copies will be shipped this week. You can check that out at TomGrossiComedy.com. Podcast, we're on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, and of course here on YouTube. But thank you so much for watching. It's late. I'm going to go to sleep. It's been a day in the NFL. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.